morning. It is a perfect December 2nd day here. And what is a perfect December 2nd day? It is like no snow at the bottom, tons of snow up high, 36 degrees down low, 20 degrees up high, rain down low, ice and snow up high. And it's just the absolutely most raw conditions that you can find here in the high peaks. My name is Jonathan Zaharek, and welcome back to the #1 hiking YouTube channel, Adirondack hiking YouTube channel, sorry, I should specify. And today, I'm gonna show you guys, me and Scott, we're gonna go up in the MacIntyre range, which by the way, I feel like is probably the most frequent range that I record on here. It's such a fantastic range and there's so many things to love about it, but today is going to be a fantastic example of how to prepare for the most extreme conditions up here. Not necessarily, you know, -30, -40 degree temperatures, but terrible weather. So we're gonna pretty much go up there, and throughout the day I'm working on my grid 46 and I'm gonna be able to get the MacIntyre range for December. So no sign-in today for some reason. It's okay. I guess they won't find our dead bodies. The trail is already remarkably icy, so Scott, by the way, this is Scott. Say hi, Scott.
Hi.
Is there anything you want to say to the camera?
Ready to hike the MacIntyre range? I'm already slipping through like...
Yeah, this is pretty sheer ice. So I just put my microspikes on too. Rockin' Hillsound microspikes. Guys, if you saw my winter review gear video, microspikes for Hillsound microspikes and Hillsound Gators are the move to go for this winter. Better than Catula, better than Outdoor Research by far, better prices as well. I'm also using the Mutant 38, which is an Alpine winter mountaineering backpack. It's not the most hiker friendly. We're gonna have to have snowshoes today for sure. So we got around 2 feet of snow in the last week. I actually skied avalanche past the first tracks of the season, and I was shocked to see how much snow is up there. So the snowshoes here, starting in the end of the end of November, were absolutely necessary. But on a day like today, you have to be prepared for anything. We checked the summit weather, so it's not excruciatingly cold or windy, which is good, but it's still kind of raining right now. Everything's soaking wet, the snow is super heavy. We'll probably go over a little bit of gear here in a couple minutes on the video. But we are gonna go to Iroquois first. Just a tip for the MacIntyre range, in my opinion. If your goal is to do all 3 peaks in a day, try to do Iroquois first, because if you end up having to bail on a mountain, it's better to bail on right than it is on Iroquois, so that you can just go back and get right much easier rather than having to go back over Algonquin. Iroquois is the hardest of the 3 to get to, of course, but if it comes down to your energy output, just try to get Iroquois if you can, and then get right a different day. So that's some Jonathan Zaharek beta right there. So we are at the intersection of right, and we're not gonna do right. We are gonna go up to Algonquin and then Iroquois here. So I've mentioned this in multiple videos, but if you take a Hydro Flask or an Nalgene, they're really good in the wintertime because they'll keep your water from freezing, especially if you put a wool sock over them. But today's temperature isn't so cold where the water is gonna freeze. So a Hydro Flask is on a good day like today. For me, today, I'm actually gonna use my water bladder, but I'm not using the hose. This way, when it's on my back, it can actually still stay pretty warm. It's not gonna freeze unless it's like super cold, and I can pack more water than just an Nalgene, and as less water is in the bag, it compresses down. So I do think just having a bladder, and they do make insulated pouches as well for these, so an insulated pouch and a bladder, and putting that in your bladder pocket on your backpack is actually a pretty good method for keeping your water from freezing in the wintertime. If you've ever been up on Algonquin, you know exactly what section we're in right now. Scott's putting his gaiters on now. We might put our snowshoes on here soon. It's been a pretty gladed path. One thing I want to note is if you are caught not wearing snowshoes, or sorry, you just don't have snowshoes in a place where you legally need to have snowshoes and a ranger catches you, you will either A, get a $250 fine or 7 days imprisonment. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. This actually in their legislation or whatever, you can get imprisoned if you refuse. Wild. I don't think they've ever done that, But, you know, who wants to go to jail? You know, who, you know, wear your snowshoes. We're now entering the Alpine Zone. There's some hikers right there. The trail is really packed out and we're not really post-holing at all, but we're gonna see here what conditions might be like. There's a lot of people going up here today without snowshoes, but we haven't drastically needed them yet. Obviously the snow is deep enough for them, but the trail hasn't really needed them itself. But we'll see here. Tree line, obviously, snow can get really deep or it can be really thin, depending on how the wind has been. So we'll see what's going on here. There it is. For food, I have some honey buns, some Cheez-Its, and some peanut butter pretzels. That's all I have. I had a pretty big breakfast sandwich before I came up here.
Yeah.
Generally, you'd want to pack more food than that. Scott's putting his hard shell on right now for his pants. I don't have a pants hard shell, but I do have this water repellent soft shell with a base layer underneath. But it would be smart to get a hard shell for sure, especially when breaking trail. Time to mantle the snowshoes now. Sick! Iroquois is broken out. Now let's hope they went the right way.
Yeah. Oh, that would be...
Yeah, don't go to Lake Holden. Tip, big beta tip. Never go this way if you think it's going to be faster back to your car. It's not. Even if you're coming back from Iroquois, just go back over Algonquin. Thank me later. We are at the top of Boundary Peak. I thought I would take this moment to just clarify a historical fact. Boundary Peak is not called Boundary Peak because of the boundary line between Native American tribes. That's the misconception. In the same way that Marcy was not actually called Tahawas. The Abenaki actually referred to the high peaks as the White Mountains in their native language. Tahawas for Mount Marcy was just a made-up name, toponym for some Abenaki tales by a white man in New York City. But for Boundary Peak is called Boundary Peak because it actually is the separation today of Essex County, as well as back in the early 1800s, the Crossfield Purchase and the Old Military Tract, which was given to Revolutionary War veterans. On June 2nd, 1797, Charles Broadhead was commissioned by the state to survey this straight line from Elizabethtown to Tupper Lake. And he was going pretty much as the crow flies. He met a guy about halfway near the Preston Ponds to kind of like link up the survey. But in his survey, he made the very first high peak summit ascent on Giant on June 2nd, 1797. But in his journey, he almost went over Tabletop, but actually crested the summit where we're standing here on Boundary Peak in 1797. And so that boundary line between those two tracts of land is the reason why it's called Boundary Peak. So if you look at your High Peaks map and look at Boundary, you will see the line going over the top. Did you find the ladder?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Okay. Here is the summit. All right, summit of Iroquois, high peak number 435. And this marks my 12th month to close out my grid. So I am finished gridding Iroquois for every month of the year. Wright will be next. I've already gridded out Algonquin before. Yeah, here we are, and thankfully I don't ever have to come up here again in December, but history repeats itself, so probably gonna happen. Not much to see up here.
Check me out. I'm the cinematographer right here.
Yeah.
Look at that. Can you even see the car? Is it like too white? I don't know.
We are back on Algonquin. Woohoo! Yeah. And everything looks the exact same.
I have like no concept of time. Cause like I just like
yeah, it's like the same. It's just
brightness.
I don't even. If it wasn't for what you're wearing, I would have no idea what colors look like.
Yeah, it's white.
I feel like I'm looking. I feel like this is how people saw back in the 1800s.
Yeah.
All black and white.
It could be 8 a.m. though, you know. I don't know.
No, just kidding. No, I feel like I'm living in an historical movie until I look at you.
It's back in time here.
Yeah. We're gonna head down now to Right Peak. We'll make it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Haven't had to change too many layers. It's been pretty good up here, keeping consistent temperatures, body temperatures. That's also one of the most important things, is just the reason why getting good gear is so important, because that helps you regulate your body temperature so much better with wicking moisture away and just being able to breathe, having breathable materials such as merino wools and other fabrics. So it's important to be able to have really good bodily temperature control and to know when to take things off and when to put things on. And obviously having extra stuff if you need to, extra socks, another coat. Don't just bring one hard shell. If you have a backup, bring a backup. So it is the time and season of backups.
Oh my gosh, I love doing that so much. Oh!
I was scared my snowshoes were gonna catch in the wet snow.
Yeah! Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
Real quick, we are at the Right Peak intersection. Scott here has, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about him. He lives in Vermont, and he has done 2 through hikes of the Appalachian Trail, both northbound and southbound. But he did a southbound, supposedly the second person in history to do a southbound starting in December 3rd.
Person.
Oh, third person.
Pretty sure that I know of, yeah.
He started on December 5th in 2021 on Katahdin and went southbound all the way to Georgia. And you've also, you've done the Northeast 115?
Yeah.
So Scott here's a great guy. I'm gonna see you do. I'm gonna put his socials in the description because he's really great to follow. He's definitely inspiring, and he's gonna be doing a lot of awesome stuff in 2024. So you wanna go check him out. Anyways, we're gonna hit up Right Peak, and we might drop pack. The weather's really great. This trail's really packed down. So just take a swig of water, and we'll just join up to the summit and come back down. Scott could go up right here. But that's not the trail.
That was not that bad.
Oh, dang it. I wanted you to fall.
Oh, that's so cool. How are the boogers?
Not present.
Really?
Yeah, you got nothing.
I always have boogers.
Yeah, Right Peak. Woo. So that officially completes the MacIntyre range for me for all 12 months of the year.
Oh yeah.
So I've girded up the max. So once January comes, hopefully my goal is to finish December of 2024, and I'm going to close out January through December because I only have like 4 or 5 trips I need to do every month and just kind of close them all out. So April and May will be a little bit of a grind, and then next November. And I've already closed out September, so I might go on a vacation after the summer ends. Guys, I'm gonna end the video here. There's no reason to record going down to the car. Anyways, I'm Jonathan. This is Scott. Yeah, this has been a little bit of a fun video. You know, November is a tough time to record videos. That's obviously why I haven't put one up in a little bit. But come the winter, I'm gonna be attempting to ski the 46, which would be the second completion ever of that. So I'm gonna bring a lot of backcountry skiing videos here. If you guys have not already, you can support me and this channel on Patreon. There's a ton of exclusive videos that I only record just for Patreon members. You can find that in the description below, and it supports this channel because it's a small channel and I wanna be able to continue making content like this. And I'm gonna be bringing a lot of other stuff to you guys. Subscribe to the adventure. With that being said, happy December and happy holidays. See you next time. I hit the snowball. Oh, my arm, this is heavy.
That thing is heavy. Oh.
straight into that